Let me ask you something right now. What would your life look like today if you had never quit on the things that truly mattered? You see, the human being is a strange creature. We crave ease, but we admire strength. We dream of greatness, but we often surrender to comfort. Somewhere between who we are and who we could become stands a quiet war. And the enemy is always whispering, just give up. But here's the truth I've learned. Life does not reward the person who starts the race. Life rewards the one who refuses to stop running, even when their legs burn and the crowd has disappeared. Never giving up is not about stubbornness. It's about soul. It's about that inner dialogue that says, I was made for more, and I won't leave this world empty-handed. So tonight, we're not here to talk about chances. We're here to talk about choices, the daily choice to fight one more round, climb one more rung, speak one more truth. Because when you refuse to give up, you become a force this world cannot ignore. You can complain about the wind, but it won't change direction. You can curse the ground, but it won't grow you a harvest. The only thing that changes when you complain is your own attitude, and not for the better. One of the great tragedies in life is watching people with talent wasted on bitterness. They blame the economy, the government, the weather, the traffic. But what they never do is look in the mirror and say, maybe the problem is me. Now, I don't say that to condemn anyone. I say it to wake you up. Because once I realized that complaining was a full-time job that paid $0 an hour, I quit. I decided to stop wasting time explaining why I couldn't and start focusing on how I could. That little mental shift did more for my wealth than any bonus check ever could. There's something powerful about contribution. When you stop asking, what can I get, and start asking, what can I give, the world starts to notice. The marketplace notices. The people around you notice. And more importantly, your confidence notices. The moment you stop waiting for someone to fix your life and start adding value, that's when things begin to move. I once met a man who told me, I've been working for 10 years and I've gotten nowhere. I asked him, what have you been learning for 10 years? He said, nothing really. I just show up. That's the trap. Complaining that the world isn't paying you while giving the world no reason to pay you. Contribution is the bridge between frustration and fulfillment. You don't get ahead by noise, you get ahead by usefulness. Marcus Aurelius once said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. In the same spirit, waste no more time complaining about what life should give you. Get up and become someone life can't ignore. Because the ones who win are not the ones who cry the loudest, they're the ones who build the longest. Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. Disappointment is part of the deal. If you're trying to build anything worthwhile, wealth, a career, a character, a family, a future, you're going to meet disappointment. It's going to knock at your door not once, but often. But here's the difference between people who make it and people who don't. The successful learn to discipline their disappointments. When I first started in business, I had fire. I had goals. I thought surely the world will reward this enthusiasm. But it didn't. Not at first. I got turned down, rejected, ignored. I'd invite 20 people to a meeting, and 3 would show up. 1 would leave halfway through. And for a while, that broke me, until I realized something crucial. You can't take it personally when life doesn't hand you what you want. You take it personally, and you'll quit. You discipline it, and you grow. What does discipline mean here? It means you learn how to feel it, but not feed it. It means you acknowledge the setback, but you don't become the setback. A farmer doesn't cry over dry soil, he adapts. He studies the season, learns the pattern, and plants anyway. Because even the worst soil can produce something with enough effort and time. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You can't always change the result, but you can always change your response. And when you master that, when you turn your disappointment into determination, you become unstoppable. You see, disappointment is proof that you're trying. It means you're in the arena, not on the sidelines. But if you don't train your emotions will train you, and not for success. They'll train you to quit, to doubt, to lower your aim. Because the pain of disappointment is nothing compared to the pain of regret. So feel it, then fuel it. That's how you keep climbing. Curiosity is a good place to start, but it's a terrible place to stop. Plenty of people are curious. Curious about getting rich. Curious about being fit. Curious about success. But curiosity doesn't get the job done. Curiosity buys the book, commitment reads it, studies it, applies it, and lives it. And in life, the rewards don't go to the curious, they go to the committed. I meet people all the time who say, I want to succeed. I say, want to or willing to? Because wanting is a feeling, but being willing is a decision. Willing to stay up late, willing to say no to distractions, willing to be laughed at, willing to fail. The world doesn't open its treasures to those who merely knock. It opens to those who are willing to stay at the door until it does. I remember years ago when I tried my hand at sales. My first few pitches were a disaster. I stuttered, I forgot my words, I fumbled the price, and the worst part was, I thought maybe this just wasn't for me. That's the danger of curiosity. It'll convince you that failure is a sign to stop. But commitment says this is part of the process. Keep going. It's like planting a tree. You don't plant a seed and say, let's see what happens. No, you water it, you guard it, you wait. And you don't give up because you've decided. That's what commitment does. It says, I'm in. No matter how long it takes, no matter how many times I fall, I'm not turning back. Leonardo da Vinci once said, it had long since come to my attention that people of accomplishment rarely sat back and let things happen to them. They went out and happened to things. That's the difference between dabblers and doers. So if you're only curious, don't expect crowns. But if you're committed truly, stubbornly, relentlessly committed, then don't worry. Success has a funny way of finding people like you. We are all born with gifts, but those gifts don't grow in comfort. That's where the real work begins. Comfort is warm, but it's also dangerous. It seduces you into staying the same. And if you're not careful, comfort will slowly turn your potential into dust. I used to believe I wasn't made for the stage. I'd sit in the back of the room, listening, learning, and trembling at the thought of ever standing up front. But one day, someone said, you have a message. Why aren't you sharing it? And I gave the usual excuses. I'm not ready, I'm not confident, I'm not like them. But deep down, I knew what the real answer was. I was comfortable. And the truth is, your future will not come looking for you where it left you. It moves forward, and if you're not willing to move with it, you lose it. What's easy now often leads to hardship later. And what's hard now usually leads to a better, stronger, wealthier tomorrow. The ancient poet Horace said, he who has begun has half done. Dare to be wise. Begin. And that's the thing you have to dare. Dare to speak when silence is safer. Dare to try when failure is likely. Dare to begin, even when success feels distant. Because what's waiting for you outside that circle of comfort isn't fear, it's growth. I've seen it over and over again. People with brilliance, stuck in routine. People with dreams, hiding behind distractions. Why? Because the comfort zone makes mediocrity feel acceptable. But let me tell you, your life will never rise higher than your willingness to be uncomfortable. Pain is life's invoice, and everyone gets a bill. It doesn't matter where you're from, what your name is, or how smart you are. If you're alive and striving, you're going to feel pain. The pain of failure, the pain of fatigue, the pain of rejection. But here's what I learned. Pain is a signal, not a sentence. Asterisk. Asterisk. It's trying to teach you something, not destroy you. When I was building my first real income, there were nights I went home discouraged. I'd knock doors all day and come back empty-handed. My legs were tired, my ego was bruised, and my pockets were still empty. I felt like quitting more times than I can count. But I also realized something important. The pain of trying was sharp, but it was temporary. The pain of quitting would have lasted a lifetime. Asterisk. Asterisk. That's how life works. Pain is like a visitor. It comes, it lingers, but it doesn't stay. Regret, on the other hand, moves in. It builds a home inside you. It whispers to you at night. It reminds you of what could have been. And if you let it, it'll take up space where your potential was meant to grow. Seneca, the Roman philosopher, once wrote, asterisk, "It is not that we are given a short life, but we make it short by wasting it." Asterisk, quitting is the fastest way to shorten your future. You don't get to see what you could have become, what you could have built, or who you could have helped if you bow out when it hurts. If you can push through that hard part, just that next 5 minutes of discomfort, that next hour of discipline, that next day of rejection, you'll discover something priceless, strength. And once you've found strength, you're dangerous. Because now pain doesn't stop you, it sharpens you. So don't give up when it hurts. Don't quit when it gets heavy. The pain will pass, but the power you gain by enduring it that stays with you forever. Asterisk. Asterisk. Let me tell you something I learned early. No one is coming to carry your dream for you. No one else is going to drag your goals across the finish line. Your dream is not on anyone else's to-do list. It's yours. And if you don't take responsibility for it, it quietly dies, not in a storm, but in silence. Now, I've met thousands of people who had incredible dreams. Dreams of financial freedom, of running a business, of writing books, of building a better life for their families. And I would listen to them speak with passion for a while. But then came the words, "I'm just waiting for the right time, waiting for support, waiting for someone to help me." That's the mistake. The longer you wait for someone else to believe in your dream, the more it slips through your fingers. When I was broke, nobody handed me a plan. Nobody mailed me a manual on how to rise. But I had an idea that maybe, just maybe, my life could be more than bills, complaints, and survival. And I had to carry that idea through late nights, slow starts, and silent sacrifices. I carried it when nobody clapped. I carried it when I doubted myself. But I kept walking because it was mine. Plato once said, asterisk, the beginning is the most important part of the work. Asterisk. But I'll tell you this, beginning is easy when you're inspired. Continuing is what tests your character. Carrying your dream means lifting it over self-doubt, over fear, over setbacks, not once, but again and again. Your friends might encourage you, your mentors might guide you, but no one can climb the mountain for you. They don't know the weight of your vision. They don't see what you see. And they're not supposed to, because the dream was never given to them, it was given to you. Asterisk, asterisk. So don't delegate your dream. Don't wait for permission. Stand up, shoulder the vision, and start walking because no one else can carry what you were born to build. Let me leave you with this. Life isn't waiting on the sidelines with open arms. It's waiting in the trenches, in the effort, in the persistence. The theme of everything we've talked about today comes down to this. Never give up. Asterisk. Asterisk. Not on your dream, not on your potential, and most of all, not on yourself. You may be tired, you may be behind, you may even be afraid. But as long as there's breath in your lungs and purpose in your soul, you have what it takes to keep going. Remember, the greatest victories often come right after the greatest resistance. As Marcus Aurelius said, asterisk, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Asterisk, the obstacles aren't there to stop you, they're there to shape you. So here's your call to action. Pick your dream back up. Dust off the excuses and start again stronger, wiser, and more committed than ever. Asterisk, asterisk, you don't need perfect timing. You need unwavering decision. And once you make it, the universe begins to move. This is your moment. Now go earn it. Step by step, day by day. But whatever you do, never give up. Asterisk. Asterisk.